Hi, welcome to this video. I hope you are always evolving in your trading and always looking to get better every day. That's my goal. Hope that's your goal too. I don't really know what to talk about in this video, but I'm just going to do my best to keep it educational and somewhat entertaining. I guess I'll just walk you through how I am going through my own little challenge as far as creating a small account, growing that small account, just by utilizing some of these new techniques and knowledge that I've gained. And there's a lot that I want to share on this video. I guess I'll start off with the biggest one that I've learned is the biggest skill you can develop is the ability to reset fast. When you have a bad conversation, just move on. You have a bad day, just know you can start fresh tomorrow. You miss that workout, hit the next day even harder. Poor decision, learn and adjust from that. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how long you let it affect you. And in trading, if you are in that losing streak, and I'm pretty sure all of us has been there, just take a step back. I guess that's my advice. Take a step back and try to look at it in a different perspective or come back with a better state of mind. Because now I'm forward testing a lot of the things that I've been back testing. And it gives me confidence to utilize some of these tools that I've learned to implement in my trading. I'm utilizing EMAs, VWAP as well, and then also concepts of following the trend, waiting for it to develop some sort of support. I call it blocks. And then looking for those continuations. But this particular strategy that I'm doing, I'm utilizing a little pullback strategy, where in the past I've noticed that when I have my take profit draft and I put it up, say where the previous candles were, it gives me a number of how much I'll be able to make, but it also shows me how I can layer my position, knowing where I can always get out of losing positions and then regain better positions. So what I mean by that is you can see the first entry at the very top, and then the second one right at the middle, and then the third one is right below where it's at right now as far as the price at. And what I do is I guess it's a method, I want to say it's like fishing, where this area where I'm drawing out is a magnet, and so I'll just keep adding on. And I think psychologically what this does to me is it gives me a target in my mind, compared to just trying to predict and pray where the next target's going to go. I actually have a set target, and it allows me to read price action and how the price is being auctioned at that particular level. Really understanding that price does travel from levels to level. So it is my job to figure out where that next level could potentially be. And then with probability and enough experience, I am willing to risk about anywhere from 1% to, at this point, because it's a small account, 50%. But I am starting off with just 10%. And with that in mind, compounding the account with knowing that, say you start off with a $200 account. So from the $200 account, you would have a 10% gain per week, which would come out to $20. Although that does seem small when you're focusing on the $20. As far as a percentage wise, you take that same percentage and say now you have created your account and brought it up to, let's just say, $220,000. 10% of that now becomes $22,000 per week. I mean, that's some significant amount of money. Within a month, that's $88,000. So that's a little bit of the strategy. Basically, utilizing compounding and understanding levels and having probability on your trades. You can see here that I'm marking off these areas that I would be paying attention to. And you can see how these price reacts nicely within these red cross. Basically, those would also be in areas of take profit or entries. In this case, if it already hits that area, I would be looking to press sell and shorting this position right here. I don't marry to a trade. What I mean by that is if this gets stopped out and it reverses, I'm immediately looking to capitalize on the momentum. So all these highs that I've already marked out gives me a good mental benchmark of where I'm at. And as far as if price decides to have an influx amount of buyers in here, then I would be able to capitalize and mentally looking to take profit in those areas if I am in the trade, as far as going for a counter trade or a retracement. So here, if I am in this trade, I would be adding in more, going for a sell position. And I've been a lot more disciplined as far as when my profits are on the table. I make sure to collect them. And most often, I would be putting my stop loss at trail or break even. That's what I showed in the very beginning of the video. If you bypass that, maybe you weren't paying attention, that's okay. Just repeat the video from the beginning. The goal is not for you to take all this in and see the market how I see it. The goal is for you to take whatever lessons I'm trying to share with you that I've learned, see if you see the same thing in the market. Maybe that's the key for you to finally withdrawing your first dollar. Because if you could do $1, then you can do $1 million, right? And also another thing I've learned is that it doesn't matter how much money you're looking to make. Your salary is somebody else's stop loss. That's a pretty cool way to think about everything. But back to the point, you can see how back to trading. You can see how now it's starting to, volume is kicking in. I believe this is about an hour after Asia Open. And these would be areas for me to be taking profits. I would be utilizing that. But I kept my take profit at the bottom because overall I'm looking for a bearish setup. Although if I wasn't already biased and I would have just came in here, these would be the areas that I would be looking for. Just for a quick scalp to the upside, because why not? There's a lot of momentum, a lot of volume. That's free money for you to pick up. And that's the objective of this game, is to collect as much money as you can based off of you and how you're following the market. You're not trying to push the market. That's what the big players do. They want to get the best prices because they have a lot of capital to move. Whereas us, we're just looking to take the market or take money from the market. So we have to see it in a perspective of, okay, where can I collect some of these money? And they leave pretty big clues, especially with this particular candle setup I have here, which is with the volume setup. You can see that that candle is huge, and then the very next candle is small red candle. So it's weak. It's not as strong. So it's not going to just keep pushing all the way up to the very top of those highs. Like this would be the next zone for us to pay attention to. And then from here, we'd want to see like a retest. And then keep pushing up and then up. But we all know it doesn't keep pushing to the moon. We have to just stay very patient. Now you want to observe. This would be areas of also take profit and potential entries. So it goes both ways. But if you can already see how powerful this is, where you're utilizing your draft take profit to give you idea of where you'd want to collect money, basically when it goes into your favor. But all this gives you a nice range to play around with. It does put this in a much gamified version rather than trying to predict where to enter. You're giving yourself an idea of where you would want to have price continue. So particularly this one is a downtrend. It's making lower lows, lower highs. Even this one would be a lower high. So you're going to see in just a moment where here are going to be areas of, again, buying and selling. Exactly where my blue line is going to be at. Price needs to figure out what it wants to do. Either it wants to break and retest, or is this area where it's just going to collect its order and then continue its way down. So right now, while we are waiting for price to show its hand, I'm going to show you some quick back testing of what I found so far. So you can see this low. So just pretend that all these other candles are not there. And that's the only candles you see, the big red candle and then that small red candle. What you want to do is you want to, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm showing you my draft. Okay. So that's going to be your take profit area, right? And then so when it starts to pull back and starts to retrace back to the EMAs, that's an area where you're going to want to look to enter, because the farther it goes, the bigger your profit becomes. Utilizing higher probability because of the fact that all the EMAs are pushing down towards your take profit. That's a game changer for me. I've also let some of my trades become runners due to that little, I guess, finding or discovery. I don't know how to call that. But, okay, back to current price. So now you can see where I'm going in the higher time frame, just making sure that overall we're still looking for bearish situations and setups. You can see here exactly where we were at. price now started to finally show its direction. All those wicks at the top shows you pressure from the upside. And then this candle didn't have any wicks at the top, meaning that this particular candle and in this particular time frame, it collected enough orders that it created an impulse or a massive move to the next level. Okay, so you can see now we're going down. Okay, gonna fast forward a little. Yeah, right around here I got faked out because I'm trying to go back and forth, but that's why when you do, you want to immediately go back to the higher time frame so that you get reminded of what you were looking at, because just what we experienced where that big green candle really played around with a lot of people's emotions, especially if they don't know what they're buying, especially if they don't know what they're looking at or their eyes are not trained. So a lot of people who went long are now getting stopped out. And yeah, so I mean that's it for this video. Hope you learned something from this. I'm planning on making like an episode, maybe a 10-part episode of where I started and where I'm at now. But hope you have a good one. Stay safe in trading. Take it easy.